Hello guys, we're trying something new for the channel. Which states would I live and which states would not live in? So of course we're gonna pick the states that I already live in, and that's Illinois. So, cause the state I already live in, I'm gonna of course put it as green because if I already live now, then of course we're gonna go through the never. So first state is Alaska, of course. Obviously, why would I want it? Alaska sounds like living hell. Everything there is expensive as hell and cold as hell. Okay, that's already two very negatives, of course. So Alaska, never live in Alaska. The next state I'll never live in, I think, would be that's good. This is gonna be a very tough choice. Um, Nevada, because Nevada's dry, no rain. Um, there's no Las Vegas, but would I want to live in Las Vegas? And of course California. California is really, really expensive. Like Illinois, if you compare the Illinois to California, Illinois is like much cheaper than California. Like a house in California is $1 million. Like a small house in California is $1 million. Extremely expensive, bad traffic, and of course, just annoying people overall. California is a never. Um, New York, of course, doesn't need the whole state. Upper New York sounds pretty fine. Similar climate, but New York City, I'm gonna put it in Milwaukee. Okay, I'll put it in maybe because you have the upper New York, but I will not live down here. New Jersey, no, I've never lived in New Jersey. Um, as well. That of course I could go to Milwaukee. Dakotas, they are very cold, but they're also very isolated. But yeah, uh, Montana, Wyoming, probably no. I would never want to live in Wyoming. Montana, uh, Idaho, that's a maybe. That's a maybe. Idaho just has a lot of wild animals. Oregon has Portland. No. Washington, I'll put it in Oregon. Um, yeah. So now we can go over to the maybes. First is Utah. It sounds like a nice place to live, so it'll be maybe, but it'll be very far away. Really, so these are the states that I could live in versus Arizona. It sounds like a nice place to live as well. Not New Mexico, not really. Colorado, there are a lot of drug users, so I'll put in maybe. Um, Nebraska, nothing. Who wants to live in these two states and in Oklahoma? I have never been to Oklahoma. Texas, I could be. Yeah, I'll be cool with Texas. Mississippi, that's a no. These states, that's a no. Missouri, our neighbor, of course. I put Missouri in really. No, it's very similar. To where we live. Iowa, of course, absolutely. Wisconsin, absolutely. Indiana, absolutely. These are like our brother states. Minnesota, yes. That's not in the fight. There's lots of Minnesota's probably very similar to Illinois. Like I wouldn't live in the city, but I would definitely live in like the suburbs or the rural areas. Michigan, same thing too. I wouldn't live in Detroit, but it's southern part of Michigan is very similar to where I live. So Ohio, despite all the memes, yeah, Ohio would be a pretty nice place to live. Very similar climate, very similar people, to where I live. Pennsylvania too, as well. Yeah, I think Pennsylvania would be a good place. Alabama, maybe. You just have to live with all the weird people, but Alabama is reluctant. Georgia, yeah, definitely, I think it would be willing. Absolutely, I think these set of states would be an absolutely. I have been here many times in these states many times. They sound like cool places to live. Virginia is very similar to the Carolinas, so I'll put them. West Virginia is maybe. Maryland. If I had to live there, Delaware, no one lives there. And then we have New England. Maybe for Massachusetts. Not really for Connecticut. Rhode Island sounds like a nice place if I can get Rhode Island. And we have these free states. I think Vermont is very expensive, but these two states sound cool, so I'll put them in. I'll put these two states in absolutely. I'll put Vermont in willing, because these states are like no crime at all, and of course go to Florida. I'll put Florida in willing. And Hawaii, if I can afford it, absolutely. Who wouldn't want to live in Hawaii? But you'd have to be able to afford it. So maybe because you have to afford Hawaii. Okay, you would have to afford living there. So yeah, absolutely, I would not live in Nebraska. Yeah, it's just it's a joke. Of course, I don't really care for Nebraska, and I wouldn't want to live in Arkansas either. Actually, yeah, the Ozarks would be pretty decent. I'll change Arkansas to maybe. The Ozarks would be pretty cool though. Not by the river though. The Ozarks would be pretty cool. Um, as well, I'll change Arkansas to maybe. And I think Oklahoma is part of the Ozarks too, so I'll put them in reluctantly. So there's only a few states that are red. So there aren't really any bad states out of California. California is red, of course. California is red. Of course it is. Of course California is red. Not Republican, like, no, we don't want to live in California. Okay, California is just too expensive, and the price is not worth living in California. Okay, the $1 million, like Hawaii, it's worth it. It's expensive, but it will be worth it. Okay, but California is expensive and not worth it. They're basically the two sides of an opposite coin. Same thing with Florida. Florida is expensive, but it would be much more worth it than living in California. Okay, California, you have to deal with all of the Californians as well. Okay, you have to deal with all of the hippies and liberals. You have to deal with all the annoying people in the state as well. Um, Florida has a bunch of annoying people now, but I've been to Florida, so I have experience with Florida. Yeah, but yeah, a lot of these states, and I would of course absolutely live in these areas here, and I would absolutely live in Michigan. Actually, Michigan would be willing, and of course, I think I'll put change these states to absolutely. Ohio and Pennsylvania. Those two similar. Okay, basically the Rust Belt and the South, parts of the South, not Mississippi and Alabama and Louisiana. Um, yeah, and I'll change Kansas to reluctantly too. Not okay. I'll change. Yeah, these will be the never states. You have Louisiana, Mississippi, Wyoming, Nebraska, Oregon, California, Nevada, and of course, Alaska. Alaska, of course, Alaska is the worst state. I think Alaska is top five worst states in the country. Okay, like it is top five worst states, along with California, along like New York. The only reason I said maybe is because of the northern part of the state. Um, it's very, very, very similar to where I live. So, you know, I would have experience with it. Same thing with Massachusetts, but I would not want to live in Boston. Um, but yeah, there we go. And I think the reason why Georgia is not an absolute is because of Atlanta. I wouldn't want to live in Atlanta. I won't have to deal with the traffic. But anywhere like up here, and you know, in the Appalachians, of course, those are great places. As well. But yeah, Virginia is just too similar to North Carolina. Not the DC area, but the rest of the state. I heard is pretty cool. I've never been to Virginia, but of course, yeah, it would be. I think it would be a pretty decent place to live in. And Indiana is just too similar to where I live. So Ohio is to Iowa, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, Kentucky. So these would be amazing places. I think. Yeah, that's not California. That's not California. California is you have the also California has water problems too. Like I think even like in California, the only part of this U.S. or even the tap water is not safe as well. And also New Jersey because it's just New Jersey. Like why would you want to live in New Jersey? It's like you're deciding to go to hell and live there. As well. Okay. Also New York, New Jersey's basically New York and Philly. So it's basically Philly and New York, all the bad parts put into one state. And yeah, that's what this video here. Goodbye.